So good morning, Dishant, and welcome. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself and the Emergency Preparedness and Support team?
Thank you very much, Mary. Good morning to you. Yes, I am Dushan Joshi. I'm known as Dash within the UN system. I'm from Tanzania and come to the UN Secretariat with experience from UNDP and UNICEF, largely in the area of human resources management, also crisis management. The Emergency Preparedness and Support team is a dedicated team that was established in the Office for Human Resources Management just after the earthquake in Haiti, and it's a dedicated support entity to provide support to individuals, basically UN personnel and their families who've been affected either by a malicious act or a natural disaster or any other critical incident. And whilst we have, in the last 70 years of the UN, been managing these individual cases where UN personnel have been victims of malicious incidents or other critical incidents, the team that was established after the Haiti earthquake was a response to member states' requests, but also a request from the UN staff community to have a dedicated support structure in the headquarters that would serve as a multi-purpose support provider for crisis preparedness, response during an incident, and post-response care that often is taken for granted, especially when you look at case management, issues around compensation, claims, and also the fact that how do we remember our fallen. So we also do a lot of memorial activities and so forth.
Why was this training developed and what does it cover?
Well, the training is known as soft skills in crisis management, and it came as a recommendation from an interdepartmental working group, which felt that there was a gap in terms of the duty of care related soft skills that individuals at the front line who serve as crisis responders often may fail to deliver. For example, it was initially targeted to administrative officials, administrative support staff, managers, but also HR and security. These three functional areas often find themselves responding to an emergency or a critical incident. Whilst they do have the hard skills required to put in place an effective response, be it a security response or HR response, often we tend to neglect the fact that we're dealing with human beings, be it staff or their families, national authorities, or other beneficiaries. And it is very essential to be able to connect with empathy, being able to communicate with sensitivity, being able to put oneself in the other person's shoe, but also being able to represent the organization in the most humane way possible.
So your course will focus a lot on communication in dire
It
situations.
Absolutely. It deals with communicating during crisis. It also offers a module in providing psychosocial first aid. This psychosocial first aid, it doesn't necessarily certify one to serve as a psychological expert or a counselor, but it provides a first aid response in terms of listening skills, being able to understand what the issues are, being able to provide a referral for more professional assistance at the onset of a crisis.
And in your view, why is this useful?
This is basically, whilst we are implementing this or running this in the organization as a formalized training for crisis responders, it's basically equipping individuals in basic life skills. You can use these same life skills at work. You may find yourself in a situation where you may not be necessarily dealing with a mass casualty event, but just an office setup where you have one fine day a colleague walking in, uh, traumatized because of something he or she may have experienced during the day, be it getting off the subway or walking to the UN or something that may have happened at home. And often we do not realize that as managers, as staff, we have a certain moral obligation towards our colleagues, towards our teams, and towards our families. And this training equips one with basic communication skills to be able to serve as a support mechanism for anybody who has been affected by any form of trauma or a critical incident.
And just to get a little bit more of details, what exactly will participants learn?
The participants will go through a 6-module program, of which one area is crisis communication, but also specifically tailored to the duty station. So if it's New York, we will be taking them through the standard response protocol that SSS security teams have put in place. They will also be exposed to the basic principles of psychosocial first aid, preparedness, checklists, how to prepare oneself, how to prepare their own teams, and how to prepare their families in the event of a possible emergency or a incident that they may face throughout their careers or lives as UN staff members.
And when exactly is it going to be rolled out?
We started rolling out the training last month in June here at headquarters based on a number of pilots that we ran last year at New York headquarters, but also in the field and other locations within the UN system. We sought feedback from participants, managers, and experts in the field to be able to put together a package that is now being formally rolled out progressively here at headquarters. We'll be running it twice a month. It is a mandatory training, as I mentioned earlier, for security, human resources, and administrative personnel. We want to make it available to a much wider community of UN personnel. Hence, we have now taken it forward to make it available as an online learning package. It will be available on the UN's website. We'll also be sharing it with the larger international humanitarian community through international NGOs, the Red Cross. There's another organization called disasterready.org, and a number of our other partners. So it's basically already an operational training offered by the United Nations.
And Dash, I know we mentioned why the training is useful, but in your view, why is it important?
It is important because in the end, whatever you do, whether you're managing a peacekeeping operation, whether you're managing a media operation, you are managing people. And at the end of the day, it's the people who matter the most, people at work, people at home. So it's equipping you on the principles or 101 on managing people and being able to communicate effectively with them.
Well, thank you so much, Dash.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us. Thank you.